Hello, good day, traders. I want to welcome you to another weekly analysis where I take a look at specific instruments and how they're going to react, to the market this week, the direction they're expected to go, and how we will end up trading these instruments for profit. My name is Rotimi Olawale, and if you are here to subscribe to this YouTube channel, please do so. If you want to learn how to trade Forex, just click the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future videos from me. All right, let's get started. So today we're looking at AUD CHF. That's the first instrument out of many that I'll be analyzing today. So AUD CHF, you can see, has been making, some downtrend for a while, some lower lows, and recently we had a bullish pullback right here. So we have an established bearish, trend on this instrument. Then recently we had a pullback in the bullish direction. Now, the fact is that price, was able to break out of a support level, a support zone at this point, then pulled back here, and the old support became a resistance level, and price crashed in the bearish direction. And currently, price has approached that same support turned resistance level again. Now, I want to hold a view of a possible bearish reversal because looking at majority of this AUD pairs, a lot of them are really looking like they are getting weak this, present week that we're entering into. So I want to hold a further bearish look, outlook of this AUD CHF. So if I go back to the 1 hour time frame, the sentiment on this is actually bearish for most of the AUD pairs. So if I go down to the 1 hour time frame, this is what I see. I see price approaching that support turn resistance zone, and I can see that we have a rising wedge formed also, on the 1 hour time frame. So we have a bearish setup on the daily, and we equally have a corresponding bearish setup on the 1 hour time frame. So if price could, enter into this zone, then I expect a further breakout, later on. So I hold a bearish view, a bearish bias on AUD CHF for this week. And we can also take a look at the possible profit potential of this using Fibonacci. Now, price could enter into any part of this zone. So let me just use the upper part of the zone just for analysis sake. So if price breaks out of this zone downwards, then, looking at price breaking out below Fibonacci 23.6, some pips below 23.6, if you target Fibonacci 50 and Fibonacci 61.0 at Fibonacci 50, we should be looking at around 60 pips, and at Fibonacci 61.8, around 89 pips. So we will target those levels as a possible profit level. That's Fibonacci 50 at 0.57604 and Fibonacci 61.8 at 0.57307. And if you like to take a third trade, you could actually start with Fibonacci 38.2. That will be at 0.57907. So we have a bearish bias on this instrument this week. Just watch out as we look for price breaking out into the bearish direction on AUD-CHF on the 1 hour time frame. All right, the next instrument we want to look at is the AUD-JPY, and this is AUD-JPY on the weekly time frame. You can see that price hit a resistance level on the weekly time frame at 97.477. Or let me say price got close because, it's still about to touch it from the previous week. So if we zoom down to the 1 hour time frame, like I said, I see a lot of the AUD pairs are having a bearish, outlook for this week. So if we zoom down to the 1 hour time frame, we can see a trend line here and another one at the back, which forms a very clear rising wedge. All right, a rising wedge is a bearish reversal, indicates a possible bearish, movement on price. All right, so with this, we're looking for a bearish, breakout on AUD/JPY. Now, price could just make a breakout directly, or may just go to hit that resistance and then drop. But ultimately, we're looking for a possible bearish breakout on AUD/JPY for this week. And if you want to use Fibonacci, we could use that Fibonacci to capture, the possible movement of price on this instrument, the projected profit level. If we use the upper part of the resistance zone as, Fibonacci 0 up there, then looking at 3 levels where price should drop to, we'll see price drop to any of these 3 levels. So with some pips below Fibonacci 23.6, we see about 36 pips to Fibonacci 38.2, about 68 pips to Fibonacci 50, and about 100 pips to Fibonacci 61.8. So we could have profit taking levels at 96.409, 96.077, and 95.744 on AUD/CHF this week. All things being equal, if our analysis really works out as expected. So I'm bearish biased also on the AUD/JPY, just like I am on AUD/CHF. All right, the next instrument I want to look at is the AUD CAD. And this is AUD CAD on the daily time frame. You can see that price has been trending downwards, for a while. You can see the trend line and how price has been making, a downward movement. And this is where price closed last week. So technically speaking, we're looking for a bearish, continuation in the course of this week. So I'll go down to the lower time frame, 1 hour, to look at our possible entry, on this. So if I flip down to 1 hour time frame, then I can see that price actually, is forming what looks like a double top pattern, which is equally a bearish reversal pattern, just like we had on the rising wedge. So I expect price to break out downwards, on this instrument. However, the midpoint here will be the neckline that price needs to break below before a sell trade can be triggered. And we can also draw a valid trend line right here, and I think we can also still have another one at the back there to still have a rising wedge. So we have a confluence here. We have price, trending down on the daily time frame, and on the 1 hour time frame, we have a double top and a rising wedge. Everything pointing to a possible bearish breakout on AUD CAD. So I hold a bearish view on AUD CAD for this week. And again, the profit potential on this also could be in the range of, you're looking at Fibonacci 23.6, Fibonacci 50, and Fibonacci 87564. So price could actually drop to hit about 13 pips to 41 to about 70 pips thereabouts. So we'll have price touch 0.88143, 0.87848, and 0.87564 on AUD CAD. So I equally hold the bearish view, on AUD CAD, just like I hold the bearish view on AUD/CHF and AUD/JPY. All right, so while the other AUD pairs, AUD/CHF, AUD/JPY, and AUD CAD are looking bearish, I'm looking at a possible bullish movement on Euro AUD. Now, this is Euro AUD on the daily time frame, and we can see price has been trending up, on this ascending trend line. And last week, Friday, price closed again on this trend line. Here ended up being actually it ended up being an inverse head and shoulder pattern. And you can see price made its bullish breakout. This went up. And this is looking like a possible double bottom pattern and, a breakout, a continuation rather in the bullish direction. So let's go over to the 4-hour time frame and see a possible entry. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, we can see previously we have, price breakout of a support zone to touch this trend line. And here we have another support zone right here. So the interesting part is that the previous support zone, price made a double bottom to break out, and it's looking like price is equally trying to make a double bottom right here to, continue in the bullish direction. So I'm holding a possible, bullish view on Euro AUD, in the bullish direction on this instrument. I'm bullish biased on Euro AUD. Let's go down to 1 hour and see if we still have something else to look at. It's still the same, possible double bottom pattern, even on the 1 hour time frame, which should lead a bullish continuation. So wait for price to break above the neckline, to trigger a buy. So when anytime price breaks above 1.65583, then it will be time to trigger a buy on Euro AUD. So I hold a possible bullish breakout, and I see price targeting the most recent high here at 1.67518, and that would be an average of about 184 pips away, from the neckline. So I'm bullish biased on Euro AUD. Now, the next instrument I want to look at is Euro CAD. And this is Euro CAD on the daily time frame. I actually held a bearish outlook on this instrument since the previous week. And we can see price, is trying to trend downwards upon hitting this trend line the top time. And we can see some, reversal candlestick patterns up there with a rising wedge, all on the daily time frame. Now you can see the last Friday candle, and I believe price is trying to form a pattern here that looks a lot like a head and shoulder pattern, and a final, breakout downwards. But then let's go to 4-hour and see if we have something, that clear. Okay, this is what we have on the 4-hour time frame. This is the 4-hour time frame, and we can see just like looking at the forecast, a possible head, shoulder, and a possible breakout. You can see price is testing the neckline. Oh, sorry, it's testing the trend line again on the daily time frame. You can see that, and I expect a bearish movement from here. So we have price trending down the daily time frame with a rising wedge on 4-hour. I expect price to break below the trend line, and then you'll have a bearish breakout on Euro CAD. So I'm bearish biased on Euro CAD. Now, this is a swing trade. It's a 4-hour time frame. So you can look out for that, for a bearish breakout in the course of this week. So I hold a bearish breakout, on this instrument for this week. All right, so the next instrument I want to look at is the Euro JPY, and this is Euro JPY on the daily time frame. You can see price, closed last Friday on this resistance level, and I'm seeing a pattern that looks a lot like a double top pattern, being formed. So we're seeing the possible double top pattern on daily time frame, and at the same time, price is just at the tip of a rising wedge, both indicating a possible bearish movement, on the Euro JPY. But then let's go down to the 4-hour time frame to look closely at what we have. And this is what we have on the 4-hour. Is still the rising wedge is still valid, and we still have that possible double top, which should lead to a bearish breakout first to this trend line. And if the volatility is strong enough, price is expected to break out, way below the lower trend line of the rising wedge. But then let's look at the double top pattern first, and the price, hitting the lower trend line, of the double top pattern and breaking out towards this level. So if that plays out, then I will take this level here as the neckline. So whenever price breaks out below this neckline, it will be a time to trigger a sell on Euro JPY. And the first profit level should just be, on this, just on the trend line here, that's short movement. And like I said, if the volatility is strong and that being a rising wedge, I expect, further breakout into the bearish direction. And confirmation needs to be, noted, and that's our RSI must be clearly below 50 to trigger a sell on this instrument. So I'm very biased on Euro JPY for this week. All right, the next instrument I want to look at is GBP card. So this is GBP card on the daily time frame, and you can see that price, recently or sometime recently broke out below this support zone and moved towards the resistance zone. So we have a support turned resistance zone there, and technically we expect price to actually break out downwards. So I'm holding a bearish view on price, and you can see we equally have a rising wedge indicating a possible bearish breakout. So I'll go down to the 4-hour time frame, and we look out for possible bearish entry on this instrument. And this is what we have on the 4-hour time frame. Support on resistance on daily with a very clear rising wedge, on the 4 hours. So I expect price to, possibly we may end up seeing a pattern that looks like a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and a final breakout. Or otherwise, price could just, make a clean, straight breakout downwards. Either of the two patterns, could work. But ultimately, we're looking at a bearish breakout on GBP card. So I'm bearish biased on GBP card for this week. All right, next instrument I want to look at is the dollar index. And this is the dollar index on the daily time frame. You can see, the NFP was released just last Friday, and the result came out, not to favor the dollar. And we've seen a very massive crash in the dollar generally in the market. So this is the dollar index on the daily time frame, and you can clearly see that price, due to that NFP, price broke out of a range, on the daily time frame, and we're expecting a bearish continuation. Now, I expect price might just, retrace back to touch the daily that resistance, and then further, break out downwards. So I'm looking for more of bearish movement on the dollar index, and across across the major currency pairs in the course of the week. So I'm bearish biased on the dollar index. Now, since the dollar index turned out bearish due to the NFP last week, I'm seeing a very possible, bearish movement on the USD JPY. Now, this is USDJPY on the daily time frame, and we can see we have a clear resistance zone. And not only that, the candle that closed last week Friday closed as a doji, as a rejection candle on a resistance level on the daily time frame. This is a clear indication of a possible, bearish breakout on the dollar in the course of this week. So if you zoom down to a lower time frame like 4 hour, then we can clearly see, the dollar is trying to find its way, downwards. And we can draw this trend line right here, and we still have a valid rising wedge. But then aside the rising wedge, there's equally another bearish pattern that is being cited. And that's the fact that price could do a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and a breakout. So price will just retrace a little in the bullish direction before breaking out downwards. And we have a valid neckline just around this region. So I hold a bearish view on the dollar for this week. And you can see that RSI is clearly below 50 and MACD is clearly below 0, all indicating a possible breakout in the bearish direction on the dollar. So I'm bearish biased on the dollar for this week. All right, the next instrument I want to analyze is the USD CAD. And this is USD CAD on the weekly time frame. And on the weekly time frame, we can see that price, recently hit a triple top, pattern on the daily time frame, which is a strong reversal candle. And then we equally have something very close to a bearish engulfing pattern, right there, all signifying, a possible bearish movement in price. So we're going to go down to the daily time frame to see, what the market is saying. And on the daily time frame, I can clearly see price, declining, in the bearish direction. That's a trend line there, and I have another valid trend line up here. So on the daily time frame, I can clearly see a rising wedge. So a triple top on the daily time frame, a bearish engulfing on the day. A triple top pattern rather on the weekly time frame, a bearish engulfing pattern on the weekly, rising wedge on the daily time frame. All is pointing to the fact that price will drop in the bearish direction of the dollar index. But there's on USD carbon, there's a possibility price may just retrace first in the bullish direction before drop. So I hold a bearish view on the CAD, and this should be a long-term trend, may span, beyond this week. All right, the next instrument I want to look at is the US oil. That is USOUSD. So this is US oil on the weekly time frame, and I can clearly see a resistance level up there. And also a possible shoulder, head, a head and shoulder pattern. Now, the moment price breaks out below the neckline right here, which has already happened though, we expect a bearish movement, a long-term bearish movement on the US oil. Long-term RSI is at 49, already below 50, meaning we're looking for a very strong bearish, breakout on the US oil. You can see the candle for last week already broke out below the neckline. So once this week's candle appear, then we should get ready for a massive bearish breakout. So US oil is expected to sell in the long term, most likely to the end of this year. So I have a bearish outlook on the US oil. We can go down to the daily time frame to still have a closer look at this. All right, so this is the same US oil on the daily time frame. And you can see clearly that we have a very clear head and shoulder pattern. clear head and shoulder pattern, which should lead to a bearish breakout. So price is expected to target the nearest support level, which is this, zone there. So we have a very long ride, on US oil to this point. So I hold a bearish view on the US or USD. Right, so finally we look at the DJ30. Now this DJ30 on the daily time frame, on the other flat platforms, you may have it as US30, it's still the same thing. Now on the daily time frame, you can see we have price breakout of a support turn resistance zone. Price moved downwards and is approaching this level again. Now, I think we had a similar pattern of one of the, I think AEDCHF thereabouts. So two things could like actually happen here. Price could break out, above this level. Price could just break out, retest, and continue in the bullish direction, or price could, that resistance level could hold and price, turns in the bearish direction. Those are the two possibilities, on this instrument. So it's a dual view. It all depends on how the markets really choose to move. So if it's a strong bullish breakout, price will break out, retest the old support on resistance. And at that time again, that resistance also will turn to support again and it will break out upwards. So otherwise, price will actually reverse from the current position. All right, that's my analysis for this week. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so to get the best analysis you can have in FX on instruments, and you can take all this analysis to your own advantage to trade in the market in the course of the week. All right, I'll come back again towards the end of the week to bring you updates on all these instruments. So enjoy your week. Bye-bye for now. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you can just click the like button. You can drop your comments. Maybe if you have a specific currency or instrument you want me to analyze for you, you can drop that in the comment section. I will surely analyze. And if you need advice on anything that have to do with the financial market, you can also drop it in the comment section. I will surely respond to you. So click the like button, smash the notification bell, drop a comment, and I'll see you again later in the week. Bye for now.